Could you please talk about what words you use to describe your relationships and your relationship identity? Like what terminology feels close to you and kind of what that means for you?
Yeah, that's a tricky one because I do identify as polyamorous. Like I do believe I have the drive and the capacity and the, I don't know if it's the desire to have multiple long-term emotional textured relationships over my life. Mm-hmm. However, just because of a lot of different situations, including my body and my location and just, I guess, the certain dynamic that my husband and I share, right now we're calling it an open relationship. We don't necessarily, like I do consider myself polyamorous as an identity, but as a signifier or a describer of our relationship, I call it an open relationship. Would you mind talking about what that means exactly? Like how you define open relationship? Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of the odd thing because my husband and I, we have talked about it, and it's not just about sexual non-monogamy. Like we're allowed to have companionate and emotional and romantic relationships with multiple partners, and we communicate about all of that so everybody's on the same page. So I guess for us, maybe it's just an easier way to communicate about it because in Nebraska, like most of people, they'll say like, oh, are you a swinger? And it's like, well, it's kind of the next step after that, I suppose, from the popular understanding of what swinging and open relationships are. But then kind of bringing the concepts of polyamory into it is something that I feel is more reserved for spaces like this, of sex-positive spaces, rather than kind of like the real-world Nebraska spaces. Mm-hmm. So for an open relationship for us, it just means, we're ethically, sexually non-monogamous, but we also have companionate and romantic relationships with people. Also, I have kink partners, so I'm very kinky, and my husband is very not kinky, very vanilla. But we do make it work, and he super respects my desires and my drives, and he's really happy that I have kink partners that can do stuff with me that fulfill me in that particular way that our relationship does not fulfill. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that's really great that we can talk about. So I have, play partners that are not necessarily romantically involved, but very much so psychologically kink-based.